When a retired software professional volunteered to host a free, unscripted class about artificial intelligence, he fully expected an empty classroom. His curriculum was dry and technical. The plan was to run through calculus concepts like Riemann integration and demonstrate an AI text-to-speech app called Speechify. But the chairs actually filled up, not with coders or tech enthusiasts, but with a diverse cross-section of everyday people from the local community. When you bring everyday lives into a space designed for data processing, the human variables take over the curriculum immediately. Sitting in the front row was Mary. She had recently lost her 44-year-old daughter. In the back sat another attendee, carrying deep generational trauma, specifically the inherited memory of an uncle who survived the horrors of a Japanese prisoner of war camp. The instructor stood at the front, equipped to talk about language models and data recursion, looking at an audience processing acute, unresolvable loss. Algorithms cannot parse that kind of pain. To reach the people in those chairs, the instructor had to use his technical tools as a bridge across a deeply emotional gap. This digital whiteboard shows a standard bell curve with vertical red lines, explaining how data distributes around an average. By coincidence, it mapped the room's emotional state. The dense center captures the functional, everyday middle, while the statistical tails hold extreme, isolated pain. To explain how AI processes variables, the instructor introduced the calculus concept of a derivative. Visually, that's a tangent line showing the exact rate of change at a single moment. For Mary, losing a child at 44 represents a slope so steep it goes nearly vertical. It is a devastating, near-infinite drop in zero time. Using rigid geometry didn't diminish her experience. It actually gave the room an objective, neutral container to safely observe something deeply personal. The instructor shared how he used AI tools to reconstruct his own understanding of his father's time in a World War II stalag. That specific vulnerability immediately clicked with the attendee in the back, carrying her uncle's wartime history. Yet, as they discussed the capabilities of artificial intelligence, a natural friction emerged. The audience grew wary of cold technology attempting to replace human empathy. Someone grabbed a marker and scrawled their exact reaction onto the board. EA, oh no. That red ink is vital. That skepticism is the exact human friction required to keep algorithms from completely overwriting our authentic connections. The instructor added a philosophical framework, the dialectic. The thesis is AI's utility. The antithesis is the room's skepticism, recorded in that red no. Which leads to the synthesis. AI doesn't replace humanity. It acts as a mirror, reflecting our realities back to us. To truly achieve technological literacy, you have to understand what a machine is capable of, and exactly where the boundaries of human emotion refuse to let it cross. We can actually measure the impact of this class by looking at these sign-in sheets. The scheduled hour ended, but several attendees wrote their names down again. They stayed for a second hour, and then a third. They didn't stick around to master prompt engineering. They stayed because they finally found a room that could hold the weight they walked in with. While we race to adopt the newest language models, the most crucial breakthroughs still happen face-to-face, without armor. The success of that morning had nothing to do with teaching a machine how to speak. The technology was just the scaffolding that allowed a room full of strangers to sit down, look at each other, and finally be heard.